This video is brought to you by True Tales of Buried Treasure, the largest collection of old treasure magazines in the West. We're pleased to announce that we are now selling our physical magazines directly on our website. You can browse by magazine title or search for a particular issue using the search bar. To pay us a visit, please click the link in the description. Enjoy. For generations, the lost Saba silver mine in Menard County, Texas, has remained hidden in the rugged hills, concealed by nature and wrapped in legend. It has long captivated treasure hunters and historians alike, luring them with the promise of forgotten Spanish riches. But recent revelations suggest the mine may no longer be lost. This remarkable development surfaced during a recent visit to Menard, where a long untold story finally came to light. The account came from Mrs. F.D. Kaufman, a longtime resident of Menard and the granddaughter of the late Judge J.R. Norton, a renowned San Antonio attorney who dedicated 18 years and $65,000 of his life to uncovering the truth behind the fabled silver mine. Judge Norton's obsession began not long after World War I, when he closed his successful law practice and turned his full attention to the search. For nearly 2 decades, he explored the hills and ravines around Silver Draw, an area referenced in centuries-old Spanish documents as being 3 leagues west and 1 league north of the Saba mission. These archives, over 200 years old, describe the location of the mine in detail. The Saba mission ruins, moved in 1757 from the San Gabriel River and now located just west of Menard, served as Norton's landmark. Of all the seekers drawn by the mine's legend, Norton may have come closest to success. During his long search, he kept his discoveries private, revealing almost nothing even to his own family. It wasn't until his tragic death that his son began piecing together the clues he had left behind. Norton spent much of his later life at the site. He constructed bunkhouses, storage sheds, and other facilities to support his work. Shortly before his death, he reportedly told a group of curious visitors, "It cost me $65,000 and 18 years of hard work to learn what I know. You're welcome to visit the site, but I'm not sharing any more than that." Only years later did his granddaughter, Mrs. Kaufman, decide to share his story. "The full truth has never been told," she said. According to her, Judge Norton was first drawn to Silver Draw after a man named Longworth came to his law office with an intriguing tale. Longworth claimed he had found remnants of an old Spanish silver mine near Menard, but was unable to continue the excavation due to flooding in the shafts. He sought financial backing to purchase high-pressure pumps to drain the tunnels. This sparked Norton's interest. He had already been researching the legend for years. Longworth had once been part of a group of Texans who uncovered a vital clue, a Spanish waybill hidden in the archives of a Catholic church in Monclova, the former capital of Coahuila in Texas. This document, written during the time the mines were still in operation, described the mine's location and its incredible contents: an extremely rich vein of silver and thousands of 50-pound silver bars, all hidden in sealed underground vaults. After obtaining a translation of the document, the Texans traveled to Silver Draw, where the map led them. They reached the mine and attempted to breach the sealed chamber, said to contain the silver bars. But heavy debris from past flash floods blocked their progress. Despite their frustration, it was clear they had found the right place. The ancient Spanish mine workings were unmistakable. After weeks of backbreaking labor, hauling out countless loads of rock and debris by wheelbarrow, the group of treasure hunters finally reached their breaking point. One night, frustrated and exhausted, they turned to whiskey to ease their disappointment. The mood grew sour. The men were disillusioned with the hard work and the seeming futility of their efforts. In a moment of anger, one of them snatched the old Spanish map they had obtained from the Monclova archives and hurled it into the campfire. Flames consumed the fragile parchment as the men cursed the entire venture as a hoax. By morning, all of the men except Longworth had left Silver Draw, never to return. But Longworth stayed. His story, though marked by failure, intrigued Judge Norton. He believed in the account and agreed to finance the project, supplying funds for high-pressure pumps and labor to remove the underground debris. From the portion of the Monclova church records that Longworth had retained, Norton learned that the first Spanish explorers in the San Saba region had discovered gold long before 1650. These early colonists mined the area and shipped large quantities of ore back to Spain, relying on Indian slave labor to work the mines and smelters. The treatment of the native people and the Spaniards' relentless extraction of wealth from their lands sparked resentment. Eventually, a hostile group of Indians descended upon the mine, slaughtered the Spaniards, and left no surviving map or clue to its location. Years later, a second Spanish expedition entered the San Saba country, determined to find the gold mine their predecessors had worked. Relying only on vague descriptions from the earlier shipments to Spain, they searched the rugged terrain. They never found the gold, but instead stumbled upon a staggeringly rich silver lode. This became the focus of their mining efforts, and likely one of several mines reported to exist along the San Saba and Llano rivers, mines that have since drawn generations of seekers into the Texas Hill Country in pursuit of the Southwest's most legendary silver deposits. As for the gold mine, it remained lost in the archives, its fate unknown. Though rumors have persisted of recent discoveries of gold along the San Saba, nothing has been confirmed. Could the original Spanish gold mine still lie hidden somewhere in the region? At the time, the Spaniards placed little value on the silver they had found. Gold was their true prize. But the richness of the silver vein at Silver Draw was so extraordinary that they couldn't ignore it. In keeping with their customs, they began full-scale mining operations using enslaved native labor. To support the effort, the Spanish established a presidio near what is now the city of Menard. A well-worn trail once ran from the presidio to the mine itself, and another smaller mine was thought to be in production nearby. Because silver was not a high priority for shipment, the Spanish stockpiled the bullion underground, sealing it in chambers within a sprawling network of tunnels, some reaching depths of 30 to 50 feet. But their efforts were again undone by conflict. A second wave of Indian attacks destroyed the presidio and killed all the miners. The fort and mission were never rebuilt, and the silver mine once again vanished into legend, until the discovery of the Monclova archives led Judge Norton to the site. According to Mrs. Kaufman, the workings were unmistakably ancient. She herself had ventured into the mine shafts as a girl, while her father, H.R. Norton, carried on the search after Judge Norton's death. Following the clues from the Monclova waybill, Judge J.R. Norton carefully traced his way into the subterranean chambers of the San Saba site. One entrance, known as the Chicken Ladder, led deep into the earth. Another shaft, called the Egg-shaped Basin, served as a secondary entry point. Together, these passages formed what he believed to be a vast underground space in the shape of a cross. According to the old Spanish documents, silver bullion had been hidden at each end of the cross and at its center. Judge Norton focused his attention on the intersection point, convinced that it marked the heart of the treasure cache. There, beneath layers of earth and stone, he believed the largest hoard of Spanish silver was sealed away, waiting to be uncovered. Judge Norton had strong reason to believe he was closing in on the largest cache of silver bullion ever hidden in the San Saba region. Using the clues from the Monclova waybill, he worked his way westward from the egg-shaped basin entrance. Eventually, he reached a spot that matched the description in the old Spanish document: a sealed chamber, its stonework clearly bearing the marks of human construction. Norton was convinced this was the vault. At this point in the story, Mrs. Kaufman was especially careful when recounting directions and details. Her grandfather had labored for years, clearing out tons of stone, debris, and sand that had washed into the tunnels over time. Every step forward was met with new obstacles. Still, he pressed on. Then disaster struck. A violent flash flood swept across Silver Draw, unleashing torrents of water that poured into the underground tunnels. The floodwaters overwhelmed the old mine shafts, and the water table surged to new, unmanageable levels. Despite his efforts, Norton's pumps couldn't keep up, just as Longworth and his earlier partners had experienced. It appeared that an underground river had shifted course, and now flowed directly through the area Norton had been excavating. Years of work were now submerged. But even in the face of defeat, Judge Norton refused to give up. He tried every method he could think of to solve the water problem. He had found the chamber. There was no doubt. The evidence of sealing by human hands was unmistakable, but not everyone shared his resilience. Longworth, like his former companions, eventually gave up and walked away. Judge Norton continued the work alone. Unfortunately, the pumps of that era lacked the power and reliability of modern equipment, and the water levels remained stubbornly high. Still, Norton never stopped believing he was close. He never concluded whether the chamber he had found was the main vault or if even richer pockets of silver lay elsewhere, within the vast spiderweb of underground passages. Geophysical surveys later confirmed strong indications of silver in the area, suggesting that Norton's instincts had been correct all along. Then, tragedy brought his work to an end. In November 1942, a kerosene stove in Norton's cabin exploded, fatally burning him. The shacks he had built along the cliffs of Silver Draw, his bunkhouses, tool sheds, and camp buildings, still stood after his death, silent witnesses to his long, lonely battle against time, earth, and water. But the story didn't end there. Norton's son, H.R. Norton, inherited his father's mineral rights and resumed the project with the same determination. For years, he fought to drain the tunnels and break into the sealed chambers. Then one day, deep within the mine, he was overcome by black damp, a dangerous, suffocating gas often found in damp, sealed caverns. He was lucky to survive. That close call, combined with the haunting memory of his father's death, convinced him it was time to walk away. At his wife's urging, H.R. Norton laid down his tools and moved his family to Illinois, leaving Silver Draw behind. Later, two men who had worked with the Nortons, W.M. Merrick and a man named Wallace, acquired the mineral rights. Though Mrs. Cothman said her family no longer had any financial interest in the mine, they continued to follow developments closely. She and her relatives remained convinced that Judge Norton had been right all along and that he had come within reach of the lost Spanish bullion. Since acquiring the site, Merrick has made major strides. He developed the shafts, constructed protective covers over the numerous entrances, and even built a proper road leading to the area. A new wooden sign now marks the location. It reads simply, "Silver Mines." According to locals in Menard, Merrick employs a team of workers at the site, and activity is ongoing nearly every day. In a brief comment to the author, Merrick confirmed that he had finally resolved the water problem that had defeated both Norton and Longworth. He did not elaborate further, but the implication was clear. Progress was being made. Meanwhile, history suggests that Silver Draw may not be the only treasure site in the area. The San Saba and Llano River watersheds have long been rumored to hold other lost mines, including the elusive Lost San Saba gold mine. In fact, early Spanish maps and Stephen F. Austin's 1840 map of Texas marked silver mines south of the San Saba River, near an old Spanish trail. By February 1756, word of rich silver veins along the rivers had spread throughout New Spain. That month, Don Bernardo de Miranda, Lieutenant General of Texas, led an expedition to investigate. With 16 soldiers, 5 settlers, an interpreter, and a group of laborers, he left San Fernando, now San Antonio, to explore the remote and often hostile territory. His findings would become known as the Miranda Report, a document that still stirs debate among treasure hunters today. On that fateful day in 1756, Don Bernardo de Miranda, then Lieutenant General of Texas, departed San Fernando, now San Antonio, with an expedition party of 16 soldiers, 5 civilians, an interpreter, and a group of peons. Their goal, to investigate persistent rumors of rich silver mines in the Texas Hill Country, particularly along the San Saba and Llano rivers. Their journey through uncharted and often hostile Indian territory led to what is now known as the Miranda Report, a document that has stirred debate among historians and treasure hunters for generations. One notable passage from the report reads, The mines which are in the Cerro del Almagres are so numerous that I guarantee to give every settler of the province of Texas a full claim. The principal claim is more than 2 veras in width, a vera being 33 1/3 inches, and its western lead appears to be of immeasurable thickness. Pasturage for livestock, ample wood, fresh water for mining, and irrigable soil, all the necessities for a productive settlement, are present. Miranda's report indicated that his exploration had taken place along Arroyo San Miguel, which many modern researchers believe to be Henry Creek, a tributary of the Llano River, formerly known as the Rio de las Chamas. Despite the encouraging findings, the expedition's promise was short-lived. Within a few months, Miranda was reassigned to another part of Texas. With his departure, the promising silver mines faded once more into obscurity. Over a century later, in 1907, historian Dr. Herbert Bolton reignited interest in Miranda's account. In his study of the report's cryptic references, Bolton suggested that the Boyd Shaft, located on Honey Creek, itself a tributary of the Llano River, might be the very mine Miranda had described. Bolton's theory led to the formation of the Los Almagres Mining Company, which went on to purchase over 1,700 acres of land surrounding the old shaft. However, despite the company's ambitions, no mining or exploration was ever documented on the site. The project eventually vanished from public view, buried in paperwork and forgotten records. Today, only a comprehensive regional study might uncover the truth. Adding another layer of intrigue to the San Saba mystery was the reported discovery of an old smelter in the ruins of the San Saba mission, just a mile west of Menard. This find bolstered claims that the Spanish had indeed mined and processed ore near the mission site. For years, eager locals have tunneled around the mission ruins, digging like gophers in search of long-lost treasure believed to lie buried beneath the soil. In the end, only one firm conclusion can be drawn. Among all the legends, rumors, and half-buried truths, only the lost San Saba silver mine is currently under active investigation and control. The other mysterious sites, scattered throughout the hill country and etched faintly in old maps and fables, remain the domain of speculation. But as history shows, speculation sometimes pays off, especially when the one doing the speculating shares the unyielding spirit of the late Judge J.R. Norton. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to read the original article or purchase the magazine from which it was taken, please check out our website, truetalesofburiedtreasure.com.